Today, in this episode of What Makes This Company Great, we're going to be looking at the company LVMH. And there's a lot of interesting things about the history. So, first of all, it's got dominance in the luxury goods market. It sells in 5 segments of luxury goods: fashion, leather goods, perfumes, cosmetics, watches and jewelry, wine and spirits, and selective retailing. It's the world's 13th most valuable company in 2023 and has over 5,600 stores around the world. A very, very different strategy than what we see at one of the competitors, different types of products, but Hermes from France. Now, what's interesting about this company to me is just the fact that it is a conglomerate. It is an amalgamation of many different brands. The question is that the best way to add value? Or should you have one company, one brand? This is a reasonable question, but in this case, I think you're going to see the answer to it pretty quickly as we go through. So the brands own, and here's the revenue breakdown. So fashion and leather goods are 49%. So half of the business is Louis Vuitton, Dior, and others. Another 19% of revenue is coming from selective retailing, and then 13% from watches and jewelry, 10% from perfumes and cosmetics, 9% from wines and spirits, and then a remaining tiny percent. So how does the revenue stack up across the world? This is first quarter 2023 revenue. 23% came from the US, 7% France, 14% Europe, 36% Asia, 7% Japan, and 13% in others. This is an important, point to stop and think about how much people in Asia appreciate great brands, whether that's Hermes, as we looked at in the past, or Louis Vuitton as another example. In Asia, there is a huge market for brands. And I think that's a big lesson from what we can see with this and other companies that we've looked at, is make sure that you have strong dominance in Asian markets. So the top brand of the company is Louis Vuitton, which is valued at about 15 billion US, and Dior is the second top brand. So I thought it would be fun to kind of step back in time. If we meet Louis Vuitton, he was born in 1821 and lived until 1892, and he founded his company in 1854. His flat, stackable suitcases were designed to be easily handled on trains or ships. It's interesting to think about how these were designed for the convenience of the train or ship operators, maybe more so compared to where we see rolling bags that have been designed in recent years for the users. His company was appointed trunk maker to the Empress wife of Napoleon III. Of course, in the old days, we used to call them trunks. In fact, I had trunks at my house when I grew up. We don't have them anymore, but trunks were, rectangular boxes that we shipped things in. The distinctive LV monogram became synonymous with luxury and sophistication. I thought for a little fun, it would be interesting just to go back and look at this particular guy, Bernard Sadao, who was born in 1925 and passed away in 2011. And he was a president of a Massachusetts luggage company. And you may say to me, what has this got to do with Louis Vuitton? Well, I just find it fascinating that it took until 1972 before somebody created luggage with wheels. And this is the guy. Bernard Sadao has a patent as of 1972. And you can see the picture on the right coming from the patent office about what this device does, which is basically there's a handle on it. Now, we also have Claude Moet, and I have to apologize that my French is terrible, but he was born in 1683 and lived till 1760. He was a wine merchant who founded the Champagne House, and which became Moët and Chandon. And he acquired wines and spirit brands, including Hennessy Cognac, which was founded in 1765. Moet was the first winemaker in Champagne to exclusively produce sparkling wines like champagne. He networked extensively within the royal circles of Versailles and soon became a merchant accredited to serve the royal court. Now, here we can see that LVMH is ranked as the #1 top luxury brand in the world. It also is kind of interesting to look at Bernard Arnault, who was born in 1949, and he saved Christian Dior from bankruptcy in 1984 and later formed LVMH through mergers and acquisitions. And the backstory on some of that is quite fascinating, but I don't have time to go through it here. His strategic brand management expanded LVMH's portfolio to include iconic names like, obviously, Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, and Sephora. I don't know how to pronounce that. That shows you how far out I am from brands and buying things. He's known for his visionary leadership, and he consistently ranked among the wealthiest individuals globally and has played a significant role in the luxury fashion industry. And here's an interesting thing to ask the question, who has the power to control LVMH? This came from a great website post by Camille Franek.com, and it talks about how he has double voting rights, and the family is able to control the business. That's thanks to French provisions that allow long-term shareholders to have voting rights that are double short-term shareholders. An interesting one, which brings you down another rabbit hole, which we won't go down today. And how was it built? In the 70s, Arnault worked in his family's construction and real estate business. He expanded that business and acquired the luxury textile company Fresnel. And in 1984, he acquired the bankrupt textile and retail group Bosac for $65 million. The company had a hidden asset. It owned the iconic fashion house Christian Dior. Within 2 years of acquisition, oh boy, in France, this is pretty brutal. He laid off 9,000. It's brutal anywhere, but I know the unions are very strong there. But the company was in bankruptcy or was going into bankruptcy, and he had to take some severe action. In 1987, he engineered a merger between Moët and Chandon and Hennessy to create Moët Hennessy brand. And Moët Hennessy and Louis Vuitton merged to form LVMH. Later, he acquired a lot of other brands, and he's preserved each brand's identity while expanding them globally, especially in Asia. It was interesting to see that this company plays a significant role in the Paralympics, and we can see here the Paris 2024 Paralympics is going to be sponsored by LVMH. So what is the company's competitive advantage? Let's take a look at that. So, when you look at the company, you think that it's a very old company, but actually this is a conglomerate of many old brands. So it was only founded in 1987. It's in the consumer discretionary sector with 170,000 employees and $50 billion in revenue. And its main segments are fashion, perfumes, watches, and the likes, and all the great brands. So let's look at its competitive advantage. This came through luxury brand portfolio, heritage, and global reach. And it was achieved by acquiring prestigious brands, nurturing brand equity, offering exceptional craftsmanship, and delivering personalized luxury experiences across various sectors. So now we're going to answer the question, is the company financially world-class? So here's the method I use as an investor and business owner to measure whether a company has a competitive advantage. The world-class benchmarking scorecard that we developed about 10 years ago. And this is how we construct a scorecard for any company. We gather the yearly and quarterly financial data of 26,000 companies worldwide, and then we calculate each company's profitable growth score, which is a composite measure of both profitability and growth. After that, we rank the subject company relative to sector peers of a similar size. The decile ranking we use is from 1 best to 10 worst. If you see a score of 1 or 2, you know the company is financially world-class. And we assess the company's performance over the prior 4 years and the past 12 months. So now let's answer the question. Here we can see that the company is financially world-class. Now, it did have some weakness in 2018, and then we had COVID in 2020. But as of the 2021 numbers, we can see that, and the past 12 months, that the company has been financially world-class. Now, the question is, can they sustain it? But as of right now, the company is, in fact, financially world-class. So my question to you is your company financially world-class? Do you lead a company with $50 million or more in revenue? If so, just message me and I'll score your company, and let's see if your company is financially world-class. That wraps it up for LVMH. Hope that you learned something and you are working every day to build a personal or professional competitive advantage. I'll see you in the next video.